Hey there, I am Oliver and I am 33 years old. I work in a bank as a senior relationship manager. It has been 8 years since I've joined the bank. I like my job. It's a respectful job and it pays well. I started as a customer service representative and worked my way up to become the senior relationship manager in these 8 years. I also met the love of my life, Amelia, because of my job. We were colleagues, but she quit soon because of some health issues back then. It has been a good journey till now. However, I used to have a colleague, Theo, who had a bone to pick with me. Theo joined the bank 3 years before I did. When I was a customer service representative, he was a loan processor. We were friends when I joined, but it soon turned sour when I started dating Amelia. Theo and Amelia have a history. They were in a relationship before I joined the bank, but they broke up because Theo was an arrogant prick. Theo didn't treat Amelia well, and after about 2 years of being together, they broke up. Amelia moved on, but Theo didn't. He begged Amelia to get back with him for over a year after Amelia left him. After I joined the bank, Amelia and I became friends. After about 3 years of being friends, I asked her out on a date and she said yes. We dated for a year and then we got married. Theo became jealous of me because I was dating Amelia. I still remember the day I told Theo about me dating Amelia. As soon as he heard it, he went mad. He snapped at me and I wasn't the one to back down either. We yelled at each other in front of the entire staff. "Hey Theo, I have something to tell you." "Go ahead." "So I know you and Amelia were in a relationship and you guys broke up 3 years ago. Thank you for the trip down memory lane. No, what I wanted to say is that I hope you don't mind that I am dating Amelia now." "What? Are you dating Amelia?" "Yes, we're dating." "How could you? You know I have a history with Amelia." "Yes, I do. What about it? How could you date her?" "What do you mean? It has already been 3 years since you guys broke up. Amelia has moved on, but I haven't. You'll have to, eventually. Plus, Amelia and I can't stop living our lives because you haven't moved on. You're my friend and you're Amelia's too. I thought you, out of all people, would be happy to see us together." "What are you talking about? Why would I be happy if my friend dated my ex?" "Theo, we're not high school kids. We're mature, we're adults. You can't just tell me not to date Amelia because you guys used to be together 3 years ago. You're a snake. That's what you are." "Excuse me. You're a desperate guy who is willing to do anything to get a date, even if it meant stabbing your friend in the back." "How old are you?" 16. "And how am I stabbing you in the back? You and Amelia are not together anymore. You need to move on with your life." "I have moved on." "Then why are you acting like a crazy ex who can't get over his ex-girlfriend?" "Because I thought you were my friend." "I used to be, but now I see how immature and selfish you are," says the man who's dating my ugly ex. "Hey, don't you dare badmouth her." "Or what? Or things could go out of hand." "Things have already gotten out of hand. It got out of hand when you started dating Amelia. Grow up, will you? You know what? I don't even want to have a conversation with you right now. You're pathetic. You're the one dating my ex and I am pathetic. You know what? Both of you deserve each other. 2 losers together, going out on a date would be fun to watch." "All right, this is it. Do you want to take it outside? I'll show you what happens when you badmouth a man's girl in front of him." "Oh yeah? Well, come on then. Show me what you got." Things were starting to get ugly and both of us were ready to brawl. That's when Henry came. Henry was our boss. He was the regional manager back then. As Theo and I were heading outside the office to fight, Henry came in and told us to calm down. Someone had called him to alleviate the fight. Everyone respects Henry. He's a good boss. Henry came and he handled the situation very well. He calmed both of us down and he took us to his cabin. All 3 of us went to his cabin and Henry didn't say anything for 15 to 20 minutes. He didn't let us speak as well. The silence in his cabin was so loud. I guess he did it so both Theo and I could have time to cool down and get into the right mind to sort this out. Then Henry called the housekeeping staff and ordered 3 cups of coffee. Coffee came in about 10 minutes. Henry handed us the coffee and then he said some very wise things, but Theo and I were too hateful of each other to understand anything Henry said. I already know the reason for the fight, and it's very petty, I must add. He started it. What? No, I didn't. He's lying. I didn't start anything. I went up to him to tell him about Amelia and me dating, and he snapped. Who wouldn't? Anyone sensible, Theo. You're acting like a child. What? I am not acting like a child. He's the one dating Amelia, even though he knows that Amelia and I were in love at one point. That was 3 years ago, Theo. 3 years. 3 years is a long time. Exactly. It's been 3 years. How much more time do you need to get over it? Enough, Oliver. You're not helping. Theo was the one who was bad-mouthing Amelia. I had to teach him a lesson. Oh yeah, well let me bring in some swords and you can fight like gladiators to sort this out. Oh come on, Henry. You know whose fault it is? Yes, I do. You both are at fault here. What? How am I at fault? It was he who was acting like a child. And you think you've acted wisely? I agree Theo is acting like a child and taking all of this very poorly. It has been 3 years and he needs to move on for good. And on the other hand, there's you. You need to understand what Theo is going through right now. It's clear that he hasn't completely moved on and it's neither your fault nor Amelia's. But you have to understand that the news of his friend dating his ex is a little too much to take in. Give him some time to register everything that you've said. It's natural that he gets upset and says mean things to you, but you don't have to reciprocate in the same way. Maybe if you had been less reactive, Theo would have cooled down after a while and come up to you to apologize. But you, saying mean things back to him, just made him burst like a volcano in anger. I thought that this was the right time to tell him about everything and I wanted him to know about all of this through me rather than hearing about us from someone else. That would have been wrong. I agree, but how did you expect Theo to react? Get a little angry, I guess. And that's exactly what happened. All right, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. I know you do, Oliver. You're a smart guy. And Theo, Amelia can't just stop dating other guys because you haven't moved on. And there's nothing wrong with Oliver dating Amelia. Nobody's backstabbing you. Everyone is just living their lives. That's all it is. You need to move on, my friend. Not for anyone, but for your sake, all right? Yeah, I understand, Henry. See, that's how easy it should have been. Now shake hands like gentlemen and leave all of this ugly stuff behind for good. Henry made us shake hands and we did. But even while shaking hands and looking right into each other's eyes, we sensed that it was not over yet. Theo was not ready to understand and I wasn't ready to forgive him for saying bad things about Amelia. We knew this was far from over. Now it wasn't just about me dating Amelia, our egos were involved. We didn't want to win now, we wanted to see each other lose. It was on. A couple of months went by fine. Theo and I had some altercations now and then, but nothing very significant. Henry was observing all of this and he decided to move either Theo or me to another floor to avoid having any breakouts, but he couldn't decide who he should send. I could see it was a tough decision for Henry, so I voluntarily told Henry to move me. Henry moving either one of us would surely dampen our respective relationships with him, so to make it easier, I told Henry that I was willing to move to another floor. But men being men, Theo and I were competitive. We fought over who would move to the next floor. And this time Henry didn't stop us. I guess he knew it would have been a tough job for him to choose one of us, so he let us decide on our own, while he just sat back and looked at Theo and me going at each other. I know this is a tough decision for you, Henry. Let me move to another floor. I know for a fact that Theo and I don't like each other, and we might have a big fight someday that is going to get both of us fired. So it's better that I voluntarily move out to another floor. And also, I can do my work just as well on another floor. It doesn't matter to me where I sit. Well, all right, if you say so. Wait. I know what you're doing, Oliver, and what that might be. You take us for fools. I know you're trying to be the bigger person and let everybody know that you were the one who made a sacrifice. You think I can't see what you're trying to do here? What is wrong with you? Nothing you just said makes any sense. I know, and you know it too, that it made perfect sense. You're trying to be a hero when everyone knows that you're nothing but a snake. Oh, here we go again with the snake remarks. Yeah, please, keep them coming. I enjoy it now. What's next? You're going to call me Nagini or something? Come out of Hogwarts for God's sake. Henry, I am not like Oliver. I'll move to another floor, not because I want to appear as the bigger person in this entire fiasco, but because I can see that him and I being on the same floor is troubling you. I have no issues moving to another floor. You've got to be kidding me. Do you even hear yourself? You sound like a character out of a romantic novel. How fake can you be, Theo? Well, not as much as you. Oh, come on, Henry. I know you can see that all of this is an act. I mean, look at how he's been acting lately. He always tries to grab a seat beside you when it's lunchtime. He always goes on coffee breaks with you. He's just doing all of this to get on your good side. I don't know why he's doing it. It's not even the appraisal season, but he is acting like a suck up here. Oh yeah, well, what about what you just did? What did I do? Volunteering to move to another floor all by yourself, even though you don't want to. Obviously, I don't want to move to another floor. I don't want to leave my cubicle and my friends and move to another floor. But I am not doing this to get in Henry's good looks. I am doing this because I know that you and I will never be friends again, and I don't want us to have a breakout in front of everyone. And I don't want to get fired because of you, so I volunteered because it was better for all of us. Well, you don't need to do that, our noble Mr. Oliver. I am competent enough to move to another floor and still do a good job. I'll move and you can just stay here in your cubicle with your dearest friends. Well, all right. I have no objections. You move then. All right then, it's sorted. Theo is moving to another floor and Oliver stays here. Thank you, gentlemen, for showing such composure and cooperation. I am pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to choose one of you, but both of you made it much easier for me. Thanks. It's all right, Henry. The look on Theo's face when he realized what had happened. He thought that he would win if he managed to convince Henry to send him instead of me, but the truth was, at the end of the day, I was the one who got to stay in the same place that I'd always been in, and Theo had to move. Initially, Theo was happy that he was able to do a better job at convincing Henry to move him, but after a while, he realized that it wasn't a win. Now he had to move to another floor, sit in a new place, among new people, and work. It was almost like getting a new job at a new place. And on the other hand, I was going to stay right where I had always been. It was a win for me. Theo was so blinded by the thought of outdoing me that he didn't realize what the actual win was. He had to take the big L. Theo moved to the floor right below us. It did help in reducing the little altercations Theo and I used to have, but it also added to the animosity between us. Things got ugly. Whenever we used to glance at each other, I could see the rage and anger in Theo's eyes for me. And I guess Theo saw the same in my eyes. After about 3 months, something happened that completely took our animosity to a whole different level. One day Henry told me to run some errands for him after the usual work hours as he was busy with a client meeting. Henry was always so kind and supportive to me that I agreed to run errands for him even though it was the clock-out time for me. Henry gave me some files and told me to take his car and deliver these files to the CEO of the company at his home. And he told me to buy some things his wife told him to get on the way back. I took his car and I drove to the CEO's place to deliver the files. As I was on my way, I looked in the rearview mirror and I felt like someone was following me, but then I thought, why would someone follow me? I am not a celebrity or anything, so I didn't think about it much. I went to the CEO's place and delivered the file to him. And then I went to a supermarket that was on the way back to the office to buy the things Henry's wife wanted Henry to buy. As I was buying those things, I got a call from Henry. He told me that the meeting would go on for quite a while and he would need my help at the end of the meeting with some of the reports. So now I had time, a little too much time to kill. I couldn't go home because Henry needed my help and no one knew how long the meeting was going to go on. So I decided that I would just go to a cafe, have some coffee and a sandwich, and hopefully by then the meeting would be over. I found a cute little cafe on my way back and I parked the car there to get some coffee and sandwiches. It was not a very big cafe, but the food there was delicious and the coffee was made just as I liked. The moment I finished my coffee, I got a call from Henry telling me the meeting was finally over and he needed me back in the office. I paid for the food and I exited the cafe. I went to the car only to find Theo standing right beside it, grinning mischievously. I looked at the car and my jaw dropped. The car was vandalized badly. I knew it was Theo because something like 2 losers together was written in the car with spray paint. Only Theo used to say these things to me, and he was standing right there, laughing after looking at my reaction. I got so mad that I went up to him and grabbed him by his collar. He was still smiling and was looking proud. I was mad, I screamed at him, but he was calm and composed. He looked so proud of his actions. He was delighted to see me get so mad about the car. I yelled at him, but he was just having fun. "What is wrong with you, Theo? Are you out of your mind? Why would you do this? The car looks prettier now, doesn't it? What? Look at what you've done. Are you mad? Why wouldn't I be? Good. Do you feel the anger? The rage? What? What are you talking about? That's exactly how I felt when you told me Amelia and you were dating. The rage you feel now is what I've constantly had in my heart ever since you told me about you and Amelia. Look at yourself, losing it and grabbing my collar. Ready to hit me? Do you feel all of this? That's how I've been feeling. Theo, have you lost it? You did all of this because I am dating Amelia? Your ex-girlfriend who broke up with you 3 years ago? Are you serious? I had to make you feel what I felt. It's not just about Amelia. It's also not about you. It's about being my friend and betraying me, stabbing me in the back, breaking my trust. I thought we were friends, Oliver. I thought so too until you started being so childish about me dating Amelia, and you're still the same. And this is not even my car. What? This is not your car? It's not my car, you fool. It's Henry's car. He was busy with a client meeting, so he told me to take his car and run some errands for him. What? You're joking, right? This has to be your car. When have you ever seen me drive such an expensive car? How could you even think that I could afford such a car with my paycheck? Think about it. So this is Henry's car? Yes, it is. Well then it's perfect. What? It's perfect. It turned out to be better than I thought. What? What are you talking about? You just vandalized your boss's car and you think it's perfect. How is it perfect? I vandalized Henry's car, but he doesn't know it. All he knows is that I left the office way before you took his car and the car was with you the entire time. What? I don't understand. Neither will he when you tell him that I was the one who vandalized his car. He has no reason to believe you. I left the office way before you took Henry's car and went to the CEO's place. Wait, how do you know? Oh, so it was you who was stalking me. Yes, Sherlock. Look at it this way. You took Henry's car, he entrusted you with his luxury car, and you got it vandalized. Now, if you tell Henry that I was the one who vandalized the car, he would think of it as an act of vendetta against me and also to hide your irresponsible behavior. Henry knows that it was just you and him in the office when you took his car. I clocked out at the usual time. Plus, I sit on another floor. How could I have known that you and Henry were still in the building? You're screwed big time, buddy. Henry will believe me. He has to. You can try, but it seems like a stretch. At the end of the day, it's your word against mine. And I've known Henry longer than you have. Also, I was the one who voluntarily moved to another floor, implying that I was the one willing to squash the beef, unlike you. So go ahead and try all you want. I doubt it's going to help you in any way. You're straight up evil. You're willing to go to this extent to get back to me for dating Amelia. Even if things turn out the way you've planned, what after that? Would it bring you peace to get me fired? Or would Amelia get back to you again after all of this? She will hate you more. I don't care, Oliver. I don't care about you or Amelia. I just wanted to get back at you for betraying me. And now I have. I must say, it feels good. Revenge is sweet. I am this close to punching you. Oh, please do. Please. Then you wouldn't only have vandalized your boss's car but also harassed a coworker. You're not just going to get fired, you'll go to jail. I like the sound of that. Yeah, go ahead. Punch me. Kick me. Beat me up to a pulp. It'll make you feel better. Do it. Do it right now. Shut up. I let go of Theo's collar and I went inside the car and drove away. While driving, all I could think of was how could someone be so vindictive? How could someone go to this extent to get back at someone for dating his ex-girlfriend? All of this to settle a score that no one cares about. And the sad part is, everything he said was right. Henry had no reason to believe that it was Theo who vandalized his car. It would only look like I am trying to frame Theo. Theo left the office way before I took Henry's car. Theo was nowhere near in the equation. Henry was going to blame me and was probably going to fire me. I reached the office and I went up to Henry. He was working on his laptop making reports. He saw me and told me to sit. But before I sat, I told him that his car was vandalized. As soon as he heard this, he looked at me and I could tell by his face that he was shaken to his core. He loved his car, and it was heartbreaking news for him. Both of us went to the basement, in the parking lot, and he was heartbroken to see his car in that condition. He walked in circles around his car, looking at every part of his car. It was a luxury car, and any owner would have been shattered to see such an expensive car vandalized. After walking around in circles around his car a few times, he came up to me and asked me how it happened. I told him about the cafe that I went to get some coffee, and by the time I got out I saw somebody had vandalized the car. I didn't tell him about Theo because it would have been much more believable if I said someone at random had a wicked idea and did this to his car. I felt at that moment that it was better that I didn't tell him about Theo. Henry would have thought that I was just being petty and vindictive. I was almost about to cry when Henry hugged me and told me that it was okay. He told me that it wasn't my fault at all and that I had nothing to worry about. As soon as I heard this, I hugged him tighter and thanked him for being so understanding. The next day, Henry called me and Theo to his cabin. Theo came upstairs and went to the cabin and I entered after him. I was scared. I thought Theo had said something about the car and Henry was going to fire me. We entered and Henry was already in his cabin. Henry told us to sit. We were sitting right in front of him. He took out his laptop, played something, and turned the laptop towards us. It was a videotape from one of the CCTVs in the cafe. It clearly showed Theo vandalizing Henry's car after I went inside the cafe. I looked at the video, then I looked at Theo. His face went pale. He couldn't believe that he was seeing himself vandalizing his boss's car in a videotape. After the video, both Theo and I looked at Henry and he looked furious. His eyes were burning with rage and he was about to explode. "How dare you damage my car, Theo? Please." "Wait, I can explain." "Then explain." "I thought it was Oliver's car and thus I vandalized it." "This is your explanation." But I just... "Listen to me, you good-for-nothing piece of flesh. That car meant the world to me and you vandalized it like it was nothing. Do you even know how much it costs?" "I am sorry. Henry, I didn't know it was your car. Even if it wouldn't have been mine, who gives you the right to vandalize someone's property? You're so unfortunate that it turned out to be my car." "Henry, please, I am sorry. Oliver, please tell him that I didn't know it was your car." "Oliver didn't even say your name when I asked him who did it. This is the friend who you thought stabbed you in the back, right?" "I am sorry. I am sorry to you, Henry, and I am sorry about everything, Oliver. Please forgive me, I beg you." The window to forgiveness has long been closed. Vandalizing someone's car, especially mine just to get back at someone, is something I can't overlook. You're fired, Theo. Please, Henry, please don't do this. I am only going to say this once and you better obey it. You're fired and I want you out of this building right now. Go get your stuff and get out of here. Please, listen to me. All right, this is it. Security. Throw this man out of the building. The security came in, dragged Theo, and threw him out of the building along with his stuff. I saw a completely different version of Henry that day. I never thought someone as kind as Henry would get this mad and act this way. But I understand that it was only fair how he reacted. I remembered the time when he told me that it's part of human nature to lose temper when something infuriating happens, and that's exactly what happened. Henry had worked hard for years to buy that luxurious car and Theo completely vandalized it thinking it was my car. It would have infuriated anyone. Theo also had to pay a very hefty fine for vandalizing Henry's car. For about a month, Theo kept coming back to ask for forgiveness, but Henry wouldn't budge. Theo even called me a few times and asked me to forgive him. Hearing him cry on the call and begging for forgiveness made me feel pity for him. I even went to Henry to talk to him about forgiving Theo, but Henry had no intention of letting that man back in the office. It has been over 3 years since all of this happened. After Theo got fired, he moved out of the city and nobody ever saw him or contacted him. Nobody knows where he is and how he is, but I hope wherever he has grown mature and is doing well in life. Well, for me, after about 6 months of this fiasco, I married Amelia and I couldn't be more happy. We now have a baby boy who is going to turn 2 next month and everything has been amazing. I have a well-paying job, a kind boss, a beautiful wife, and an amazing son. What more can a man ask for? And as for Theo, I did feel bad for him when he got fired, but I also had a sense of relief that I won't have to be the subject of his stupid fights ever again. And to be honest, it feels good to see a man get what he deserves. I guess Theo was right when he said revenge is sweet.